So the four speakers of today are Max Brouwers. If you could please wave your hand here. So Max is a Dutch citizen, has been with Shell for 20 years. His current role within the company is VP Exploration for Europe, Russia, and CIS countries. And today he will talk about technology and capability, a recipe for business and career success. Oh, sorry. Yes. You put this up.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
You can do it better. Great. Good morning to all of you. I'm immediately going to show my age, because I'm going to ask you, rather than the advanced voting with smartphones and these kind of things with a show of hands, where do you think the oil price will be by the end of this year? If you think it will be around $20, please raise your hand. 40? 60? 80? 100? No greater optimist for above 100? Good, at least we've got a diversity of thought here. And clearly the oil price is in all our minds, so it is something which keeps ourselves very much busy. I think the question which was posed here actually just a moment ago is something which links very well with what I'm going to talk about. But you might also start wondering, Max, you're standing there up front, what's your view on the oil price? Well, let me see. This is what our lawyers tell me. So in short, what I try to convey here is that whatever I might be saying here to you today, don't make any decisions to buy or sell shares based on that. So please keep that in mind. I'm really excited to be here actually and talk to the young professionals. And actually 3 reasons why, as soon as I heard that the opportunity was there to talk to you, I said, yes, I want to do that. Starting on the individual or personal kind of level, when I see an individual coming from university, joining Shell in my case then, and you see this person grow and take on more leadership kind of roles and becoming, if you like, a mature person, influencing decisions in the company, and you have a chance to help somebody along that path, that's extremely satisfying. So it is really great to see young professionals like yourself and help them to be successful in their career. The second point is actually a more challenging one, and in the sense that you have a much bigger challenge ahead of you in trying to find oil and gas. Our ancestors had it relatively easy. They had on surface 4-way anticlines, just go to the crest of a drill and you find oil. Until not that long ago, we had 3D with amplitude, fitting structure. Well, it was not too difficult. But for you guys, it's going to be really challenging to find the oil and the gas. And then the third and the broadest point maybe in all of this is the question which some of you might be asking, is the oil industry still the place where I want to be? Is it a place which is going to offer me sufficient career challenge and opportunities? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. This world needs oil and gas for decades to come. We need an enormous amount of energy. We need renewables. We need all sources of energy to supply the needs which we'll be seeing. So I think there's an very important role for you, especially because it's going to be more challenging in the environment which you're going to face to find that oil and gas. So I think those are 3 important reasons why I thought it was a great idea to actually be here. You already heard a little bit about myself, about my background, 20 years with Shell, started actually in Europe, lived for some time in North America, lived and worked in South America, and now actually back to London. So far, quite a variety of opportunities I've had the pleasure of working on. But what really drives me when I go to the office and what gets me excited are different kind of things. First of all, actually the geology itself. And some of you might have been in that situation where you identify the prospect and you have the opportunity to actually drill it, and you see the drill bit going into the reservoir, and then either you have success or failure, but boy, that's very exciting. The second bit is actually trying to bring people together. It might be actually the individuals within your team, your organization, align them around an opportunity, but actually also, maybe even more enjoying, is the external environment. Trying to align governments, local stakeholders and trying to understand where are they coming from? Where do they see value in this opportunity? And is there a way of maybe making the pie bigger and actually finding a win-win solution? That's very satisfying. And I think also, and it's underlying all this, the desire, the need the world has for more energy, and albeit a very tiny little bit in there, playing a role in that gives quite a lot of satisfaction as well. But let's talk a little bit more about the challenges and the uncertainties which we're facing. Clearly, there are strong economical and geopolitical powers at play at the moment, both on the supply side and on the demand side. That's causing all the volatility which we currently see in the price movement. As you indicated with your hands, it's very hard to predict where the oil price will be going, even by the end of this year, let alone in the future. So big uncertainties. But there are also two really important certainties which we can count on, or which provide challenges for us. I touched upon one just briefly, that's the energy demand. Between 2000 and 2050, we expect the energy demand to double. That is a lot of energy which the world needs. But the second point, which is certainty as well, that we collectively need to tackle the climate change. And those, of course, provide quite some dilemmas which we need to work on. So let's step back for a moment and look at what Shell is doing. I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are aware that Shell combined with BG in February officially this year. We are now a leader in integrated gas. We are an extremely strong player in the deep water. We have now around 90,000 staff, quite a lot of contractors working for us as well, active in 70 countries, so pretty robust organization. And despite that change, our strategy is unchanged. What Shell wants to be is the most innovative and competitive energy company in the world. And I think with regards to competitiveness, we're doing reasonably well. There's always room for improvement. We're looking at things like standardization and competitive scoping. So there is always an opportunity as the competition moves forward for us to work on that as well. The other element of the strategy is the innovation bit. And I think actually if you look at some of the external statistics, Shell is doing pretty good on that also. There's a Forbes article from not that long ago. They interviewed, I think, around 15,000 executives in all different kind of disciplines. And they rated Shell as the #1 innovative oil company in the world. And around in the top 10 across all industries. So Shell is ahead of the Nikes, the Starbucks, the Facebooks, and so on. So we're doing pretty well in that area. And I think there's certain kind of big projects which actually showcase that. Some of you, again, might be aware that Shell has been busy in building a floating LNG plant. LNG, liquefied natural gas, so far in large scale, is only built on land, but now we're actually trying to build it on an enormous large vessel offshore Africa, offshore Australia. So one of the first one in the world of this scale. Another thing which we're active in is gas to liquids. So from natural gas in Qatar, we're transforming that to prime fluids, including the ones which are actually using by airplanes. So we have airplanes now flying on this GTL product. We're active in carbon capture and sequestration, a commercial project which we're leading in Canada. And we're active in biofuels in Brazil, turning sugarcane into ethanol, also being used there for the cars driving around. So a lot of these big kind of activities, these innovative kind of projects which continue to move Shell forward. And I think we've been in the industry as Shell for more than 100 years. We're a robust company and we've always been able to adapt. But we'll need to continue to do that because the world continues to challenge, so we need to adjust. And a few weeks ago, as part of that, Shell actually announced a new energy, a new line of business in which we're actually going to invest, or already investing around 2 billion or so, in new activities such as wind, solar, hydrogen, and biofuels. And this new line of business clearly has the potential to grow very significantly. And we actually can complement it with other skills, capabilities, and portfolio which we have. So I actually do think it is a pretty exciting time to be in the energy business at this time. But in order to do that, of course, and the fundamentals of all of it is people. people like yourself. And people like myself are aging. I just picked up this flyer. I found out indeed how to join the LinkedIn group. I hope indeed that my age is indeed still permitting me to get in. But we need to continuously replenish the pool of brains which we need in our organization. We need talented, adaptable, and creative staff. We need leaders who are skilled in operating more network and more complex worlds. We need people who run new businesses and new markets, as I just described. This new energy, we don't yet exactly how that's going to form, but we need the leaders for that organization. So Shell, realizing that, is deeply investing in the education of our staff and the development of our future leaders. We're very much focused on diversity and inclusiveness, making sure that we tap all the brain power which is around. I think diversity of thought brings different kind of perspectives and gets us to new insights and brings us to better future new insights. In addition, we are actively monitoring the women and local national leadership and making sure that we support that as well. And for those who are maybe slightly more mature in this audience, also in this climate, want to give you a slight encouragement that despite the current low oil price, Shell continue to look for mature recruits as well. Yes, the bar is high, maybe higher than before, but we still need the best of the best in order to help us face this challenge. So maybe a little bit looking then more at your personal situation and a few thoughts from my side or a little bit of advice. As I said, you are the generation which will need to build and shape the energy challenge, the energy transition as we're going to face it. So what are some of the characteristics which I think are useful in that? First of all, be really good at your core job. As a geoscientist, I presume most of you are. Make sure you're really good at what you're doing to try to find those new and very difficult barrels in order to supply the demand. Secondly, be able to very objectively describe what the issues are, being able to simplify complex problems in the pros and the cons and make good recommendations or make good decisions based on that. A key characteristic for me as well is curiosity. Always ask the question, why is this? Why is that? Why this piece of information doesn't fit that? And keep on asking, and that is a perfect way of continuing to learn and get new insights. I talked very briefly already a little bit about relationships and people, but then a key characteristic is also having the ability to work together in teams, but also to go out there and understand why a different kind of party, another stakeholder, has a different kind of view. The ability to listen, to clearly listen and get that perspective why somebody else is having that different kind of view and try to see if you can build on that. And last but not least, also boldness, I think, is a characteristic which we need as well. Boldness in applying new ideas and new technologies to help us move in this energy transition. So with that, let me close out. I really look forward to the breakout session to have a further discussion with all of you. My closing comment would be curious, be bold, and the solution might actually be around the corner. Thank you.
Yep, perfect, thank you. Thank you very much for the speech. It's very interesting, and thanks for also giving us an overview of Shell and its diversity. So those are the question that we asked, and these are results. Real time here. So I repeat the question, which is, what do you see as the biggest challenge this generation of geoscientists will face during their career? So the answers were global warming, climate change, resistance to onshore unconventional developments, low oil prices, and job insecurity other. And we have first a clear winner, which is low oil prices and job insecurity. Second is global warming, climate change, and then we have B and D as the smallest question. Is there anyone that would like to add something on it besides just answering? Any comments? Don't be shy. No hands. Is any one of the four speakers would like to add something on this? It's pretty clear. Okay, very good. Let me get to you.
Well, I'm, by the way, the next speaker, so Michael Kemper from ICON, but, you know, number C, which is the biggest bar there, you know, tough. That's just what it is. There's nothing we can discuss. The oil price is low. We can, you know, supply and demand is something we can not do a whole lot about in the end of the day. So you just have to live with it, which means, you know, be good at your job and get stuck in. And you know, even with the lower oil price, the oil industry is still humongously big. There are lots of opportunities. So go and grab them and kick ass. You know, what's there to discuss? Yeah, job insecurity. Yes, when I joined back in the 14th century, that you had a job for life. That ain't no more true for anybody. So it is what it is. So either you go in the oil industry and you live with it and you do your best, and you know, if you're the best at what you do, your job security is just fine. Yeah? But if you're not, yeah, you might get kicked out. Yeah, that's the same in banking or marketing or in any industry. So you know, tough is my answer. And indeed, you know, of course I can understand for you geoscientists that you think, oh God, is there a job for me? And that at the moment is still a worry, because you know, Max said, oh, we need young people in the industry at the moment. Yeah, that may well be true, but there are precious little jobs out there now. Well, you know, again, there's not a lot we can do about it, but you know, I know that a lot of geoscientists who come to the market now can find jobs in other industries. Yeah? If that's such a worry for the Shells and the Exxons of this world, then they should start recruiting. So, you know, things will happen. You know, and you guys, you're all very clever, you're well educated, you'll get a good job, be it in the oil industry or be it outside of it. So I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, in ICON, like in almost all companies, have had to lay off people, not thankfully as many as some other companies. They all found a job, all of them. So there is life, so don't worry too much. Go kick ass.
Thank you, Michel. I will also ask you if you could approach the podium. And in the meanwhile, if you could pull up the next question. Okay, so that's the question I will kindly ask you to answer, which is, what is the main argument make you stay some years in the same company? A high and constantly increasing salary, the diversity of projects, more and more responsibility, project management on other. So please, you know, answer this and we'll discuss it later.